It's the podcast that has a black belt in karate that it stole from its mum's dressing gown. It's Power Word Roll.
You see two big paws and cat-like eyes. And you see that this thing has the lower body, like a centaur, but the lower body of a lioness.
It's a sphinx,
It's
right?
a sphinx.
No.
It's not a sphinx.
It's a lamia.
We are the sisters of the disallowed, and in this chamber we have vowed to never let these books leave, and in this goal we must achieve.
So they're Lamia. How do they feel about half rhymes? Is it rhymes only?
We'll find out.
The Lamia. It's a Lamia to Lamia basis.
I'm between one and the book that I'm after.
Yeah.
In rhyme?
I really struggle with rhymes.
Half rhymes?
I just want to read this book. I hope you don't mind if I have a look.
Oh, very nice!
I love that. That's fucking perfect.
As we said, the disallowed. Did you not listen to what we have vowed?
There is no need to be wary. Is this not a library?
Oh my god, that's so good. That's so fucking good. Thanks, Giggle. So good.
You see the lamia like gives us like its face sort of like scrunches for a second, like that was shite.
Half rhyme?
Fine.
You must leave and never come back.
Or else you'll have a heart attack.
What's the second line to that?
Or else we'll pounce and we'll attack.
I mean, I'm not sure I can really reason with them further.
Bro, this is all sounding whack. Open the door, I'll head back.
I guess that I will get hit. Luckily, I don't give a shit. I'm just through the thing.
Oh dear. Do you want to do anything on your turn?
Punch the thing, take the book.
Yeah, because
Fuck these hoes.
like, there is no way I can.
Who only speak in rhyme and don't do prose.
Yeah.
I can't reason them to let me use this book, so...
You can't reason with poets, they're irrational.
So nicely have I asked. But now it's time for Eldritch Blast! Kiya just slams her hand on the glass surrounding the book and just casts 2 Eldritch Blasts straight onto the surface of it.
And you can see chains wrap around the whole case and down to the pedestal it's upon. And these chains start to glow with purple flames, and you just feel this, like, whole case entering your hand.
Get sucked all up in there.
And it just, almost like there's a portal on your palm that it's entering. You lurch backwards, and you're in the library. You're in the library, and you feel the same palm that was casting this Eldritch Blast is now holding a hand.
So I turn to look at whatever this hand is that's disappeared. See what it's attached to. So, I got the book, I think. It was a bit odd.
Indeed, you were successful.
What are you going to do with it?
Come with me.
And he sort of, with your hand, is trying to sort of lead you.
Yeah, I follow.
And you walk, and space changes. It shifts and becomes bigger and smaller, but not in a sort of unnerving way, but in a way that seems near rhythmic. And the strange mists of the library seem to part somewhat as you walk through, until eventually you start to see the chains on the floor converge and make their way towards a gigantic being, impossibly large. And yet, with its many arms coming out from gaps in these chains, it doesn't seem discomforting to see something so strange. If anything, it seems benign.
Dad?
You
No wonder she left home.
Yeah. I haven't met...
You haven't met
no.
Jigjanasu before.
Cool, that's what I was trying to work out. What's going to happen with this book? What are you trying to achieve?
It is for him.
And you can see that at this point, the being sort of shifts its form round somewhat. All of the hands that were leaning out between the chains and sort of shifting around these books go inwards. And all of them at once go between two sets of chains and part them aside. And inside, you just see a massive gaping socket where an eye should be.
Throw the book in it.
With hundreds, thousands, nay, millions, impossible to tell, arms spindly like your mage hand, identical to your mage hand, all coming out from behind it.
You see, there was once a time when knowledge was owned by our master.
And you can see this thing is just slowly floating there with its many arms. And you can see now that there are manacles round the arms in several places that seem attached to all these chains.
So, what changed?
The war with the gods. We tried to become gods. We failed. Our master now seeks the knowledge it did not have.
To what end?
To know all once again. And when our master sees all as they did, we will all ascend.
Once you've ascended, will you just stay? Not interfere with anything?
We will not need to. We will be as gods, as celestials, as angels. Our service in the library, that will be your service in the library, will be rewarded. For Agma, as your friend calls her, plucked the eye from our master and made them see nothing. Cast them to this place. Books are knowledge. Knowledge is power. Power is everything.
If I help you with this, I can use whatever power I have just however I want to?
We will need more additions to the library. You will have to seek forbidden knowledge, like this book, for the rest of your mortal coil. We were followers of Jigjanasu,
No madness at the mention of the name.
and we wish to see all once again. Such enlightenment, you will share in it. You will see all.
All I need to do is seek knowledge to gain much more knowledge?
Contribute to the library, and the library will contribute to you.
Kiya stands there for a moment, thinking it over, and gently just nods her head and offers up the book.
And as you hold up the book, you can see that the librarian shifts its hand to your shoulder and says,
Before you came to us in a time of crisis, you asked to know more. But know to accept this path is to lead a life where you will be pursued until the day you die.
Well, I mean, I already am fairly aware of how people see me currently. I just think it'll be a bit more bearable if at least I know I have a goal with it.
all the faces in the librarian turn away and shift towards Jigjanasu, who holds out one of its claws. It's sort of, there's several joints in its very long arm that all unfurl and hold out a hand for you to place the book in.
And I offer it up.
It curls back up and curls back in, and all of the other hands let the chains loose and they rattle down. And from its form you see it shifts out the book and places it on a high shelf.
You have made a wise choice, child.
And your vision...
Snap back to reality.
Yeah.
Oh, like,
You instantly gain a level. You also gain Eyes of the Runekeeper and Aspect of the Moon as invocations.
Nice.
You are getting, like, lit with this sort of VIP pass that you got going on.
So you can now, for those who don't own the books and therefore can't look that up, means you can read all writing in any language, and you also don't need to sleep. Instead, you just need to do light reading of your book.
Oh, I hate that.
And suddenly your vision fades and you lurch back forwards as you land where the book had been placed. This empty precipice now.
Are the llamas
Sorry,
still there?
this empty...
Yeah, going, you what?
We had one job! I guess now we're free!
We'd have to run. Whee! Shit!
You hear a low growling behind you.
It's Greg. He's just like, oh, I'm sorry, I had something
Something in my stomach.
fish
It
ratatouille.
really fucked me up.
And it's Jack's turn, who's going to do another magic missile on the remaining dragons. And so he casts magic missile, and you can see that the first blue bolt comes from his wand and fires towards the blue dragon, and it just shatters.
Yes, Jack.
Thank you!
You're the son I never had!
You're the not quite cow son I never had.
The other two go and hit the green dragon, and you sort of bash it, and you can see that it flies backwards. Its wings extend as if to catch the air, and is still barely standing. And with that, it's Ayun's turn.
Cool. I'm gonna stab it for 16.
Yep, that hits.
Hooray!
Roll damage.
On
You
guard.
did more than 2.
9.
How'd you kill it?
I look at Jack and I'm just like, shook. And I just stab it. And just like shatter it in one.
It's like a small puff burst.
It's like using
gone.
rapier, yeah?
Yeah.
It's like the first like centimetre, the whole rapier bends, and it's like, is it gonna break? And then just and destroys it.
And you hear a growling from the other side of the door.
What's happening? We have to hurry. Is Kiya in there? I'm starting to worry.
And so do you open the door?
Yeah, we kick open the door, we start running in.
And you see at your side when you enter, there is this lamia whose claws are scraping against the floor. And then there's one with Kiya next to an empty pedestal.
Kiya, are you alright? Looks like you found yourself a fight.
I can't handle it.
Don't worry, book's been sorted. Unfortunately, I was to the library transported.
Now everybody... I didn't expect this. I expected that to be a one little beginner bit at the beginning of a fight. I'm fine with this. This is great.
Kiya, I'm in dismay. Stay calm. Just back away.
Why is everyone talking in rhyme?
What? You don't do it all the time?
Oh dear.
So, Kiya would like to, while everyone else is just standing there roaming from the corner,
In the doorway,
in the doorway,
Going at each other.
Finger guns all around.
Kiya would like to try and cast Misty Step to just get away from this thing that's bearing down on her. Except
Okay.
as the smoke comes out, it brings along some chains with it that just whack down on the floor next to her that send out vibrations 10 feet
Okay.
around her as she casts Thunder Step.
Okay,
Instead.
wow. And so there's this loud noise as these chains whack on the ground.
It needs to make a con save, DC 15.
That's a 14!
Nice.
23 points of thunder damage.
Jesus.
Very nice.
Or half as much. The thunder can be heard from up to 300 feet away, so the rest
We've
of the
already
library
used
will
2
know.
sets of shatters. Like,
it'll be fine.
fuck it.
It takes
She's a big girl now.
respectable hit.
As-
It doesn't seem super damaged.
Yeah, we're planning
Yeah.
on just leaving.
Yeah.
And she manages to get all the way back to the doorway with everyone else and just appears next to them with this same sort of purple smoke around her.
Looks like we've got everyone. I think that means it's time to run.
Oh god.
Okay, when we leave this room, can we stop the ride?
Yes, we will.
Thank
we
you.
will.
Oh.
We leave the room and they're like, oh, do you feel weird? I feel
What happened in there? That was odd.
And so, do you close the door?
Can we easily close
Yeah, I
the
think
door?
Greg's gonna like be the last one out the door and slam it shut behind him.
And you slam it shut.
Right, let's go.
And you hear them barreling towards the door, and then there's the door in front of you. Still a solid
It's solid,
it is, isn't it?
piece of
solid wood.
wood. How much force does it take to break it at wood? That
For a
ancient
big
wood?
boy? I think you could
For a
do it.
fire greatsword
Like, that'll help
against a
a
wooden door.
Chop that boy into firewood.
Just
We see the door on the other side, and everyone kind of looks and goes, "Oh no, we're stuck." And Greg just runs forward. Again, the like blue energy coalescing around his body as he draws the sword while running and just stops just in front of it and strikes it with all the momentum and the rage just going into it. 18.
How do you eviscerate this door?
So the end of the sword hits the door, and the door doesn't like get cut. It just gets blown outwards from where it like, should have been.
Splinter time.
Yeah, it just gets blown into splinters as all this blue energy goes through the door and then kind of spirals into nothing, and it's gone.
And on the other side, you just see an aging turtle man go into his shell.
Oh, it's all that combat training from earlier against the gate.
That's absolutely it.
Straight through the
It
door.
paid off!
Hey!
Take this door!
You can see Dr. Jerdal on his e-bus. What is go? Quickly, the guards! Go! Go!
He's a good bloke.
I
Run!
think we run in the direction he's pointing us to.
And you can see he's just pointing outwards because there's only one way up these stairs.
We run that way.
Yeah.
And you can see the guards are on their way out. And can we enter a skill challenge to get out of the library?
Cool.
Can I start with athletics? I know I started the last skill challenge with athletics, but
Yeah, do it.
Go ahead.
playing
Yeah.
similar thing. So running forward, 2 guards come from left and right. While running, Greg just pushes both of them backwards and sends them flying onto their ass. Oh, a natural 20, so 27.
They just bash against the walls on the far side.
Fall down over them.
Yeah.
We're running down another floor.
Yeah, so run down the first lot of stairs, and Kiya would just like to look around and try and see if there's any bookcases, for example, that they can basically just maneuver around to keep out of view. Ideally, perception to try and spot a retreat.
Sure.
That's not very good. That is a 13.
So you manage to sort of dart your way through, and although it's a bit difficult and you're trying to avoid getting in people's way, eventually there's like an old woman that's checking one shelf, and so you like stop everyone and then you lead to the next one, which slows you down slightly, but you manage to make your way through just. And Ayun, you only need one more success.
Cool. Ayun knows a good thing when he sees it, and he's just going to shatter whatever's in the way.
It's not a skill check. Arcana for me.
Yeah. That is a 14.
Okay, and you use up a spell slot?
Yeah.
What do you shatter?
I think...
Not the old lady looking at
No.
books.
She's made of glass.
Explodes.
And their glasses are just left, and then they're like, oh no, wait! I think that they slam the doors to the main thing before we get to the foyer.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no! And the doors are just like, bling! And it's been a bad day for doors all round.
And as you shatter the doors to the glass and that, you see standing outside are lines of Sun Elf soldiers. You see standing in front of them.
Looks like we've bit off more than we can chew.
Right,
Oh well,
give me a
it was
second.
nice knowing you.
No! Rhyme's
No.
not over!
I haven't even described the guy yet. So.
I think we all already know that we're
They
in fucking
don't.
trouble.
The audience haven't heard the description
I
of
think
him.
they know we're in trouble as
They
well.
know we're in
Lines
trouble.
of guards.
There we go. So you see standing in front of them, there's a man with 2 pale blue eyes which meet each of your gaze from beneath the brim of a pilgrim's hat. The eyes are indented into a wrinkled face like abused vellum, his skin so white it seems almost grey, and accentuated by large bags underneath that seem almost tinted purple in the flickering candlelight. He sort of has a reserved and prudish posture, like a school headmaster, practiced smile that seems like a sort of vicar, and you see that there's this simple haircut which pokes its way from beneath the prominent hat atop his head, with the black colour and its red trim matching his robes, which seem well kept for out here in the desert. His hands are decorated with rings inset with jewels, and he motions outwards. You can see that there are 2 other warlock finders either side of him.
I think we bit off more than we could chew, Ayun. Kiya? What now?
We can't do anything against this many guards. They're here for me, not you.
Jack.
Yeah.
I feel like Jack, is he still behind us or is he like in the line?
He's like hiding behind your leg.
Jack, go invisible and get out of here.
Okay, you're not coming?
I don't think we have that choice.
And it's at that point you see there's a sort of brutish man, almost looks a very ugly looking man. Can you everybody do a nature check quickly?
That's a 4.
14.
Non-natural 20.
Greg, you know that this is a half ogre who like pulls the arm of a Dr. Gainsborough who is in sort of shackles
Dad, no!
From out behind this guy and the two warlock
Oh
finders.
shit, so fuck.
And you can see that Jack just kind of freezes, goes
now.
turns invisible, and then runs off. And he's going.
No, he doesn't run off. The bird zips up into the air. He's got an invisible bird. It's fucking huge. He's a halfling.
Oh
You
yeah.
should just carry him into the fucking sky.
And so
And you can make him and the bird go invisible, so we can hear it take off and then just see him vanish.
with your detect magic, Kiya, you see a bird swoop down, pick him up by the back, and fly off. Then you sort of see Gainsborough is pulled out and is like,
Well,
the man, sort of this poised gentleman, sort of turns to Gainsborough, says,
well, it looks like following where you have been proved fruitful in our endeavors.
and to everyone out here, know this. Know that warlocks are found in our midst. They will be in our towns.
I think, as we said it, we're like, a warlock? We're like, what?
Kiya just edging the book out of sight, like, no! What?
They will be in our midst, and they will come into your homes. They will turn every man, woman, and child to ill, and we will denounce them in the good name of the gods.
Honestly, all the warlocks I've met have been pretty nice.
Blasphemy! Complete blasphemy. You see how the warlock corrupts those around them?
Oh, I think it's the other way around. Lovely to meet you. I'm Ayun.
Arrest them.
Let him go.
And you can see he's gagged, and he fully looks up, and he just... Yeah, he's like shaking his head.
He was no part of this. We made him come along with us. Let Gainsborough go.
Roll persuasion.
On a -1. Ooh, 15.
He has been corrupted by the warlock as well.
Greg just sighs and looks down to his left, just at the floor.
Now lay out your hands.
And you can see that some elves come round behind you and are poking spears into your backs to motion you to get down.
I think all three of us know there's no winning this fight.
Yeah.
So I think we surrender.
And then you can see you're all sort of shifted up. Gainsborough's put next to you, and
I do this for the good of your community. Know that I care about the Orate Empire deeply, and I know that these things, these disgusting beings, are working their ways deep into the roots of your empire. And I am only working in your favor. Let this be one such an example that the lords up high work in such ways, work through us, through the Church of the Arcane.
and you're sort of led towards what seems to be a drawn circle, and you can see that then the man that's sort of been talking comes and gets out a chalk and starts to draw sigils around it, and he starts chanting slightly.
I am Warlock Finder General Preston Sinclair, and I have been your humble servant.
I think that like under our breath we're like, as long as we're together, we'll be okay.
Kiya just gets down on the ground with both of you and just goes, I'm so sorry.
I mean, we kind of knew this might be part of the deal.
And at that point, Ayun is gagged.
We'll get through this. We'll just have to stick together, right, Kiya?
And Greg is gagged. And Kiya is gagged. And with that, the magic circle activates, and all of you are lifted off somewhere else. And that has been Return to Svasara, and we'll see you
Ooh,
in the next one.
quite a pickle we found ourselves in.
Ooh, a pickle! A wee pickle! Just a wee pickle.
Thank you for listening to Power Word Roll. If you enjoy the show, please consider supporting us on Patreon Otherwise, a positive review is the best way to help us out. The best place for those is on iTunes. All our social media at linktree/powerwordroll. That's linktr.ee/powerwordroll. But for now, from Annie, Naomi, Henry and myself, thank you, and we'll see you in the next one.
Wow, sounds like it was a really shit time. Can't believe I still have to rhyme.
How long have you been sitting on that one?
No, different ones actually. That would be funny.
You've just been sitting there just cycling.
Should have had Greg in that room.